You've spent decades trying to eat well. You've chosen vegetables over processed foods. You've listened when experts told you to eat more greens, add more fiber, and fill your plate with nature's bounty. But what if some of those very vegetables, the ones you trust most, are quietly working against your heart? Not because they're bad foods, but because the body you have today is not the body you had at 40. The medications you take, the way your arteries have subtly changed, the slowing of your digestive system, all of these factors transform how even the healthiest foods affect you. And the most surprising part, the vegetables causing the most concern are often the ones praised most loudly in popular health advice. Today, we're opening a conversation about what truly changes after 60, and why some beloved foods may need a second look. You are listening to the Longevity Library, where we archive the wisdom of healthy aging. The subtle danger in your salad. How common vegetables can affect your heart health after 60. Introduction. For those over 60, the relationship between food and health becomes more complex than simply eat this, not that. Many seniors diligently choose vegetables, believing they are making the safest possible decisions for their hearts. They've cut out fried foods, reduced sugar, and increased their intake of greens. Yet some continue to experience rising blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, or medication that doesn't seem to work as expected. The reality is that certain vegetables, while undeniably healthy for the general population, can interact with aging bodies in unexpected ways. Some interfere with prescription medications. Others place hidden strain on the cardiovascular system. And some carry risks that a younger immune system might handle easily, but that become more serious after 60. This is not about fear. It is about understanding that the body changes with time, and what once served you well may need to be reconsidered. The goal is not to eliminate these foods entirely, but to understand how to prepare them, when to moderate them, and how to make choices that support rather than undermine your heart health. Section 1. The problem with inconsistency and medication interactions. Spinach and blood thinners. Spinach has long been celebrated as a nutritional powerhouse. It is rich in iron, magnesium, and vitamins. But for seniors taking certain heart medications, spinach presents a specific challenge that is rarely discussed. Spinach contains high levels of vitamin K, a nutrient essential for normal blood clotting. This is not inherently problematic. The difficulty arises for individuals taking blood thinners such as warfarin, which is commonly prescribed after a heart attack, stroke, or for atrial fibrillation. These medications work by reducing the blood's ability to clot, thereby lowering the risk of dangerous blockages. Vitamin K directly counteracts this effect. It promotes clotting. When a person on blood thinners consumes large or inconsistent amounts of spinach, the vitamin K can essentially override the medication's protective effects. The blood becomes thicker, and the risk of a clot increases. The danger is that this interaction happens silently. A person feels fine. They believe their medication is working. But in the background, their body is losing its defense against a potential stroke or pulmonary embolism. The issue is compounded when seniors suddenly increase their spinach intake, adding daily smoothies or large salads, after years of eating it only occasionally. This fluctuation in vitamin K levels makes it extremely difficult for doctors to stabilize the medication dosage. The key principle here is consistency, not elimination. Spinach does not need to be abandoned entirely, but if you choose to eat it, the amount should remain relatively constant from day to day. Any significant dietary change, especially an increase in leafy greens, should be discussed with a physician so that medication levels can be adjusted accordingly. Section 2. Hidden sodium in unexpected places. Pickled vegetables and blood pressure. Pickled cucumbers, commonly referred to as pickles, are often viewed as a harmless snack or a simple accompaniment to a sandwich. They are vegetables, after all. But the pickling process transforms them into something quite different from their raw form. The brine used in pickling is essentially a salt solution. A single serving of pickles can contain more than 1,000 milligrams of sodium. For context, the daily sodium limit recommended for older adults is approximately 1,500 milligrams. A few pickles can account for 2/3 of that entire allowance. Sodium affects the body by holding water in the bloodstream. This increases the total volume of blood, which in turn raises blood pressure. The heart must work harder to pump this larger volume through the arteries. Over time, this sustained pressure leads to arterial stiffness, hypertension, and eventually heart failure. The challenge with sodium is that it does not produce immediate warning signs. There is no discomfort after eating a pickle that signals the gradual damage being done. A person may diligently avoid processed foods, cook fresh meals, and exercise regularly, yet wonder why their blood pressure remains elevated. The culprit may be small, seemingly innocent sources of salt like pickles, canned vegetables, or even soups that are marketed as healthy. Reducing sodium after 60 is not simply about avoiding the salt shaker. It requires reading labels carefully and understanding that many preserved vegetables carry hidden salt loads. Flavoring food with herbs, lemon, or garlic in moderation can provide taste without the cardiovascular strain. Section 3. Stimulants and the aging cardiovascular system. Spicy peppers and heart strain. For many, food is tied to memory and culture. A little heat in a meal can evoke tradition and comfort. But after 60, the body's response to spicy foods can change in ways that are not always obvious. Hot peppers, particularly concentrated varieties like red chili, trigger a physiological cascade. They stimulate the nervous system, increase adrenaline production, and raise heart rate. In a younger person with flexible arteries and a resilient heart, this response is typically harmless. The body handles the temporary stimulation and returns to baseline. After 60, however, arteries tend to be more rigid, and the heart may be more sensitive to sudden changes. The same spicy meal that once caused only mild perspiration can now provoke heart palpitations, chest tightness, or a significant spike in blood pressure. For someone with existing hypertension or heart disease, this stress response can be enough to trigger a dangerous arrhythmia. The issue extends beyond the immediate meal. Frequent consumption of hot peppers can contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation in the vascular system. Over time, this inflammation wears down the arterial walls, making them less elastic and more prone to damage. This does not mean meals must become bland. Herbs such as rosemary, thyme, and oregano provide depth of flavor without cardiovascular stimulation. Ginger and citrus can add brightness. The goal is to listen to the body and recognize that what was once well tolerated may now be placing unnecessary strain on the heart. Section 4. Natural compounds with potent effects. Raw garlic and blood thinning. Garlic has been used for centuries as both food and medicine. It is widely respected for its ability to support heart health by lowering cholesterol and reducing blood pressure. Many seniors add raw garlic to their meals or even consume it whole, believing they are taking a natural step toward better health. But garlic is pharmacologically active. It contains compounds that thin the blood, much like prescription anticoagulants. When raw garlic is consumed in significant amounts by someone already taking medications such as warfarin or aspirin, the combined effect can be too powerful. Blood that becomes overly thin increases the risk of internal bleeding. This can manifest as nosebleeds that are difficult to stop, bruising that appears without known cause, or black stools that indicate gastrointestinal bleeding. In more severe cases, the risk of hemorrhagic stroke increases. Additionally, raw garlic can lower blood pressure abruptly. For someone already on medication for hypertension, this can lead to episodes of dizziness, fatigue, or fainting. When blood pressure drops too low, the heart may not receive adequate blood flow, which can trigger further complications. The irony is that the person doing this believes they are being exceptionally careful with their health. They are avoiding processed foods and embracing natural remedies. But natural does not mean neutral. After 60, the body's ability to metabolize and respond to these compounds changes. The safest approach is to use garlic cooked and in moderation, and to inform your doctor about any significant dietary additions, even those that seem purely beneficial. Section 5. Infection risks and the aging immune system. Raw sprouts and bacterial contamination. Sprouts, including alfalfa, bean, and mung sprouts, have a reputation as a superfood. They are crisp, fresh, and full of enzymes. Adding them to a sandwich or salad feels like a virtuous choice. But sprouts also have a hidden vulnerability that becomes more significant with age. Sprouts are grown in warm, moist environments. These are precisely the conditions where bacteria such as E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria thrive. Unlike many other vegetables that are cooked or thoroughly washed, sprouts are often eaten raw, providing a direct route for bacteria to enter the body. For younger adults, a foodborne illness from contaminated sprouts might mean a few days of digestive discomfort followed by recovery. But for seniors, the stakes are higher. The immune system weakens with age, and its response to infection becomes slower and less efficient. What begins as mild stomach cramps can rapidly progress to severe dehydration, sepsis, or a dangerous infection of the heart lining known as endocarditis. Endocarditis occurs when bacteria enter the bloodstream and attach to damaged areas of the heart. For those with existing heart conditions or artificial valves, the risk is particularly high. The infection can cause irregular heart rhythms, worsen congestive heart failure, and require prolonged hospitalization. The tragedy is that the person who becomes ill was trying to eat well. They chose fresh, raw sprouts specifically because they believed it was the healthiest option. The solution is not to avoid sprouts entirely, but to cook them. A quick sauté or steam kills harmful bacteria while preserving much of the texture and nutrition. After 60, how a food is prepared becomes as important as the food itself. Section 6. Building a heart-safe plate after 60. Vegetables that support aging hearts. After understanding the potential risks, the natural question is what to eat. The answer is not found in restrictive diets or exotic superfoods. It is found in whole vegetables that align with the aging body's needs. Steamed broccoli provides sulforaphane, a compound that supports arterial health and reduces inflammation. Gently roasted carrots offer beta-carotene and fiber without spiking blood sugar. Sautéed kale delivers nutrients in a form that is easier to digest than raw greens, while cooking reduces the concentration of compounds that can interfere with thyroid function in sensitive individuals. Sweet potatoes are rich in potassium, which helps balance sodium and regulate blood pressure. Cooked tomatoes provide lycopene, an antioxidant linked to reduced cardiovascular risk, and cooking actually increases the bioavailability of this compound. Heart-healthy legumes such as lentils and green beans offer fiber and plant-based protein while supporting stable blood sugar levels. These vegetables share common characteristics. They are typically cooked, which improves digestibility and reduces the risk of bacterial contamination. They are rich in potassium and fiber, which support healthy blood pressure and cholesterol. They work with medications rather than against them, and they provide sustained energy without sudden physiological stress. The plate does not need to be complicated. A serving of lightly steamed greens, a baked root vegetable, and a bowl of lentil soup represents a meal that is simple, warm, and genuinely healing. Herbs such as rosemary, turmeric, and moderate amounts of cooked garlic provide flavor without the risks associated with raw or concentrated forms. Section 7. The principle of consistency over perfection. Why steady habits matter more than short-term fixes. After 60, the heart does not respond well to extremes. Drastic dietary changes, sudden increases in certain foods, or cycles of restriction and indulgence create instability that the cardiovascular system must constantly adapt to. This is why consistency matters more than perfection. Eating a moderate, balanced amount of vegetables daily is far better for medication management and blood pressure control than eating large salads for a week followed by none for a month. The body and the medications that support it function best when input is predictable. The same principle applies to hydration, physical activity, and rest. The heart has beaten more than 2 billion times by age 60. It has adapted to decades of habits, both good and bad. Sudden changes, even well-intentioned ones, can be more disruptive than gradual adjustments made with awareness. Small daily choices accumulate into significant outcomes over time. Choosing roasted vegetables over pickled ones. Using herbs instead of relying on salt for flavor. Cooking sprouts rather than eating them raw. Checking with a doctor before making a daily habit of a potent natural remedy. These are not dramatic actions, but they are sustainable. And sustainability is what protects the aging heart. Section 8. The importance of communication with healthcare providers. Why dietary changes should be shared. One of the most common patterns seen in seniors with unexplained health declines is the failure to inform doctors about dietary changes. A person decides to eat more spinach for iron. They add raw garlic to support immunity. They increase their intake of spicy foods because they enjoy the flavor. These seem like personal choices that do not require medical input. But from the perspective of a physician managing blood pressure, heart rhythm, or anticoagulation, these changes are medically relevant. A spike in vitamin K can alter the effectiveness of warfarin. Increased garlic consumption can potentiate blood thinners. Spicy foods can trigger arrhythmias in susceptible individuals. The issue is not that these foods must be avoided. It is that medications may need adjustment when dietary patterns shift. A doctor who knows about a patient's increased spinach intake can test blood levels and adjust the warfarin dose accordingly. A physician aware that a patient is consuming more garlic can monitor for signs of excessive blood thinning. This communication is a two-way street. Patients should feel empowered to ask whether specific foods might interact with their medications. They should report changes in how they feel after meals. And they should bring a complete picture of their diet, including foods they consider healthy, to medical appointments. The goal is partnership, not restriction. The more a healthcare provider understands about a patient's daily life, the better they can tailor treatment to support that life. Section 9. Recognizing that the body has changed. Adjusting expectations for a new decade. There is a natural tendency to compare the present body to the body of 20 or 30 years ago. Foods that were once easily digested and well-tolerated may now cause discomfort or provoke symptoms. Activities that once required no thought now require planning and pacing. This is not failure. It is the normal progression of a body that has served well for decades. The arteries have slightly stiffened. The kidneys filter salt a little less efficiently. The immune system responds more slowly to invaders. These are not signs of defeat, but facts of biology. Wisdom after 60 means accepting these changes and adapting to them. It means understanding that what was healthy at 40 may need modification at 65. It means not clinging to the idea that a particular food is universally good, but evaluating whether it is good for you, in your current body, with your current medications, at this stage of life. This perspective shift is empowering, not limiting. It replaces generic dietary advice with personalized awareness. It allows a person to continue enjoying a wide variety of foods while making small adjustments that protect long-term health. Section 10. The cumulative effect of small choices. How daily decisions shape long-term outcomes. Heart health after 60 is rarely determined by a single dramatic event. It is shaped by thousands of small decisions made over months and years. What is eaten for breakfast? Whether the afternoon snack is a handful of pickles or a piece of fruit. How vegetables are prepared. Whether a doctor is told about a new dietary habit. These decisions seem insignificant in isolation, but their cumulative effect is profound. A consistently lower sodium intake gradually reduces blood pressure. Stable vitamin K consumption allows blood thinners to work reliably. Avoiding unnecessary cardiovascular stimulation protects against arrhythmias. Cooking vegetables eliminates bacterial risks that the aging immune system might struggle with. The body responds to patterns, not occasional efforts. A week of perfect eating does not undo a lifetime of habits. But neither does a single indulgence undo months of consistency. The goal is to establish patterns that support the heart day after day, meal after meal. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. Small, consistent steps in the right direction accumulate into meaningful protection over time. Section 11. Reclaiming agency through knowledge. Why understanding leads to better choices. Fear is not a sustainable motivator for health. Telling seniors to avoid certain foods without explanation creates anxiety, not empowerment. But understanding the mechanisms behind these recommendations provides a foundation for confident decision-making. Knowing why spinach interacts with warfarin allows a person to make informed choices about how much to eat and when to consult their doctor. Understanding how sodium affects blood volume explains why seemingly small sources of salt matter. Recognizing the body's stress response to spicy foods clarifies why symptoms appear after certain meals. This knowledge transforms dietary guidelines from arbitrary rules into tools for self-care. It allows seniors to evaluate their own responses, adjust their habits, and communicate effectively with healthcare providers. It replaces the question, "What can I eat?" with the more productive question, "How can I eat this in a way that supports my health?" The information presented here is not meant to frighten or restrict. It is meant to illuminate factors that are rarely discussed but genuinely matter after 60. With this understanding, the power to protect heart health shifts back to the individual, where it belongs. Conclusion: the heart that has beaten for 60 years deserves attention and respect. It has supported a lifetime of activity, emotion, and experience. It has adapted to decades of changing demands, and it remains capable of supporting many more years of life, provided it receives appropriate care. That care does not require extreme diets or impossible standards. It requires awareness that the body has changed and that some foods now need to be approached differently. It requires consistency in habits and communication with healthcare providers. It requires small, daily choices that accumulate into lasting protection. Spinach can still be part of a healthy diet, but with attention to medication interactions. Pickles can still be enjoyed occasionally, but with awareness of their sodium content. Spicy foods can still provide flavor, but with recognition of how they affect the aging cardiovascular system. Garlic can still be used, but preferably cooked and in moderate amounts. Sprouts can still add texture to meals, but cooked rather than raw. The goal is not to eliminate, but to adapt. Not to fear food, but to understand it. Not to strive for perfection, but to build consistency. The heart has given decades of faithful service. It is not asking for perfection now. It is simply asking for attention, for awareness, and for choices that recognize how the body has changed and what it needs to keep going. Every small change made today is a gift to the heart that will keep beating tomorrow, next month, and for years to come. The single most important truth to carry forward is this: protecting your heart after 60 is not about eliminating foods you love, but about understanding how your body has changed and adapting with wisdom rather than fear. Every small adjustment, cooking a vegetable instead of eating it raw, checking a label for hidden sodium, having a conversation with your doctor about a new dietary habit, is an act of respect for the heart that has served you faithfully for decades. If this discussion sparked a thought or a question about your own relationship with food, we invite you to share it in the comments. Your reflections become part of the collective wisdom we're building here together. And if you'd like to continue exploring the science of healthy aging, we welcome you to explore other films in this library and to subscribe so you never miss new editions. This is the Longevity Library. Listen, learn, and live longer.